Like a Dragon throws us headfirst into Komorocho chaos, but how does the movie stack up against the game's legendary story? What do we think of the new characters, and does Kiryu still pack a punch on the big screen? Strap in, we're diving deep into Like a Dragon, the movie, on this episode of SEGA Talk.
SEGA Bits presents SEGA Talk, a podcast talking all things SEGA! With your hosts, George and Barry.
Look, it's a giant talking egg. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the master here. So what?
Hello, and welcome to SEGA Talk. I'm your hostess, George, and like always...
Hostess?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And what drinks do you want? Is that what they do? And they like flirt with you? They're like, "Oh, you're looking a little cute
I would
today."
like a massage.
Okay, never mind. Let's stop this. I'm a bar hostess, not a sleazy one. Anyway, and my Anarchy Barry.
Hello.
So this is a Patreon pick, and we'll get into his memories in a little bit after we do a little like what the movie's about for people that have never watched it and never knew there was a Yakuza movie. Like a Dragon, released back in 2007, is a Japanese action crime film directed by Takashi Miike, known for his prolific and often unconventional work across genres. Based on popular Yakuza video game developed by a little company called SEGA, the film adapts the gritty underworld of Tokyo's Komorocho district, a fictionalized version of is this Kabukicho, or is that how you say it, or how do you
Kabukicho?
Kabukicho.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how many times I hear that word, I always go like Kabukicho. And so anyway, into a fast-paced single-night narrative. The story follows a former Yakuza, Kazuma Kiryu, as he becomes embroiled in a chaotic mix of gang rivalries, a bank robbery, a missing girl, all converging during one intense summer night, blending stylized violence, dark humor, and a pulpy aesthetic. Miike brings his signature flair to this live-action adaptation, making Like a Dragon both a tribute to the game's roots and a standalone crime thriller. And you want to do the Patreon plug for this one?
I'll plug it in. So yeah, this was a Patreon pick. This was a pick from, I do believe, Daniel Andres. And Daniel is one of our, I guess, producers, along with, I believe Nicholas Schaefer is also one. So, they pick what we talk about on this show. And if you want to tell us what to talk about, you can support us on Patreon at the I don't even know what we call it anymore. I call it the picker tier, but you can browse the menu, and even for $1, you get to listen to the show audio 2 weeks early, which is very nice. And right now, actually, what was the last one we did? It was Joypolis. So it's a very like real life or quasi real life Japanese trend we have going between that episode and this one. So I'm looking forward to talking about, I think it's, what is it, Takashi Miike? Maybe that's what it is.
Miike? I always thought it was Mike, and now I'm like, well, I mean, it looks like Mike to me. And then I'm like, oh no, it's Miike. I actually looked it up before this because
it's Takashi Miike.
Yeah, Miike. It's
Takashi Miike.
Have you ever seen any of his films?
I've heard of them. I've not actually seen them except for this one. So
I do know that he was in the Hostel movie. He's one of the guys that comes out when they're in the. I don't know if you've seen the movie Hostel.
I've seen bits of it. Yeah, he did Audition, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, I've seen Audition. Unfortunately,
yeah. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
so you kind of understand his style, I guess. That's his most popular film, I think.
Well, yeah, and there's a character in this movie that would probably really enjoy Audition. Maybe I would. I don't know. I wonder how that far that guy would want to go.
He also did the adaptation of the manga Ichi the Killer, which is like a sadomasochist guy too.
Right.
That
So
gets
there's a
off on
trend.
pain. Yeah, I think Mika is a fan of some nasty, nasty behavior. Um, but since Daniel undresses the picker, he gets to put his memories in audio form
Ooh.
before we talk about more about the movie. So I'll play that now.
Hey there, George, Barry. Thanks again for letting me do this kind of thing. I don't know why I feel like I'm the only Patreon member that does this. Just a bit of a quick side note, but it's okay. No, maybe I think one of the persons actually done a voice recording too, besides me. Okay, so anyways. I think if I can remember right, I discovered this movie a very long time ago. I think it was shortly after I beat Yakuza 0, maybe, or a little bit before then I discovered it. I know that there's a play and everything too. You guys should line on that one in the Yakuza 1 episode. The PS2 game, or the Kiwami / Yakuza 1 episode. And yeah, this movie's good. It's decent. It's a pretty interesting, unique, cool, underrated video game film for sure. And one of those video game films that's faithful to the original adaptation, but still does its own thing. Kind of like the Sonic movies. It's good. It's good. I really like it, but I'm not a big fan of the final showdown in this film between Kiryu and Nishiki, because to me, you don't really feel like they have a connection. Like it almost feels like it just, I don't know, just think about the tone and the relationship between the characters is very different than it is compared to the final boss in the original game, and especially in Kiwami, because there's a lot of setup in Zero and Kiwami between Nishiki and Kiryu, which is super important to the overall story and role of the games. It's a decent film. It is. I really liked it. I'm pretty sure this is one of my Patreon picks, if I can remember right. I haven't double checked, but I'm pretty sure it is. And I'm not sure what else to say about it. I like the casting. I like the special effects are really damn good. Okay, well, that's giving it too much credit. I mean, like, it's good for the fact that it captures Yakuza, like a dragon, the game. They do what they need to do. It's serviceable. It's good enough. I don't know if this film is low budget or not. It doesn't always feel like it is. It might be, but it doesn't matter because it's overall a pretty good film. You know, I like Majima in it, Kiryu, Date-san, Haruka, and Nishiki, and I think Yuri's in it too, right? Like, yeah. And if I can remember, I think she actually survived, or did she die in this movie? I don't remember if Yuri lives or not. I don't remember. But they kind of like, again, they cast Nishiki off like he's just like, you know, like a one-note villain kind of in this movie. I've only seen it like two times. Once by myself and once with my wife and friend. And my one friend who I showed to, he loved it. He thought it was awesome all the way through. Even I do. But I'm also kind of like, I'm still kind of iffy about it up to like the finale. If you haven't seen it and you're a die-hard Yakuza fan, check it out. I think it's free to watch on YouTube, maybe, or you'll be able to find it. I actually uploaded the movie on archive.org for like a burnable version for DVD with English subtitles, which I know. If you want to hunt down a physical copy, you always could on eBay possibly. I don't know if it has English subtitles or not. But with that being said, check out this movie. It is good. All right, guys. This is Danny signing out. Peace out. Thanks again for listening and watching this episode.
And as you can see, yes, people die in this movie, and we'll talk more about that when we get to it, because we're going to go in order of the story. But before we do that, do you have any memories of the Yakuza movie? Do you recall its release or any of the promotional materials?
You know, I remember not much because this came out before the site existed. And so I think within the Sega fan community, I was hearing this and that about there being a movie adaptation of this Yakuza game. And at the time I hadn't played the game yet. So I was like pretty far removed from both the franchise and like a film adaptation. And then as the years went on, I feel like no one really talks about this movie.
No.
It is not something where it's like once you become a fan of the games, you're like, oh man, now I know everything and I gotta check out the movie. It's actually, and I'm guessing, I don't want to jump the gun, but it's not that like widely available. It's out of print, and I mean it's free to watch online.
Right.
But I wanted to maybe pick it up on Blu-ray, but it's only on DVD, and I'm like,
right,
with no features, you know?
Yeah, it's just the movie. That was something that I noticed too. Like, there's almost no info on the movie or the background of the movie.
Yeah, there's not even like footage of people like behind the scenes, really.
No, it's weird. It's like they
No.
shot it in 1 week or something, and they just released it as fast as possible.
Right.
My memories of the movie was that I thought it was cool that they had an established director. I know this is the same director that did the prequel for the supplemental material, the little episodes for Yakuza 1. And
Mhm.
and I think he got a better cast this time around. I think the guy that played Kiryu in the other one is like a professional wrestler. I actually looked him up for this movie, and he was like a professional wrestler, so not an actor. He did look
Right.
intimidating compared to this guy, but I think this guy has more of the acting chops and understands some of the character, not all of it. A lot of these characters kind of at least because okay, so this movie came out after Yakuza 1, and a lot of this is more like Yakuza 0, which is like 10 years in the future or 15 years in the future. So it's
Right.
like they were almost ahead of time or just wanted to do their own take on it, and Sega sort of, went that way themselves organically.
Right.
But yeah, I thought that it's I just remember the trailer. I remember wanting to watch it and having to like pirate a really bad fan dub, or not dub but subbed version of it, where I'm pretty sure half the stuff I was reading wasn't even correct. It was super blurry, so I didn't really like get a vibe of the costumes and stuff. Now that I watched it at like a 1080p, it's so funny that like Majima's mustache is so penciled in. It like you could
Right.
tell right away. It's so funny. But
It feels like cosplay and it feels like a fan film, which is both good and bad.
right, it has its moments where you're like, oh yeah, that's totally, and then it has some moments where I don't know what they were thinking, but we'll get into it.
We will. Yeah.
So first, before we get into it, let's look at the cover for this. I always thought, oh, let me, your camera was right on top of all the artwork, so that's beautiful.
Oops.
You're all good. But yeah, here's the artwork, which is literally just the video game cover. Have you ever seen like an adaptation of a video game, like a movie or a TV show, just like steal the artwork for the original box art?
I when you first brought this up before I looked at it, I thought, oh, it's like an homage, but no, it's the art
Mm-hmm.
with photos overlaid, and I think it speaks to just the level of or lack of any budget they probably had. They're like, I mean, really, there's I'm sure they had a designer do this, but it's very basic. It's pretty laughable actually. But then again, it's like, for people complaining about video game movies not being true to their source material, this is 100% true to the source material. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think it is kind of lazy, and I think it's funny, but it is an iconic pose. But you would think that the actor that played him would be like doing the pose, and then they would like edit it.
Right, and it also doesn't help that he's in the pictures and they use the video game one, and it just kind of highlights how he doesn't really look like Kazuma outside
right.
of the brow. And it's funny too that they used like this guy, like three-dimensionally he doesn't look like Kazuma, but if you
No.
look at him head on for certain shots, he kind of does.
Right.
So it's like that weird visual trick where it's like if you were a cosplayer and you constantly were posing for photos, people go, that person looks just like the character. But then if you're walking around on footage, they're like, oh, I see.
I don't. I
it
don't go.
doesn't.
I don't go to a lot of these like events, but is that how you like? Have you seen anyone like that before, where you're like, oh, you saw him and the costume was whatever, but then you saw some weird like photos online, and you're like, oh yeah, from those photos you posted.
Yeah, because I feel like cosplayers, they know how to strike a certain pose and make a certain face, and then it really nails it. But when they're just relaxed and doing other things with their, just being themselves, yeah, it doesn't,
No.
obviously it doesn't translate.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. I guess he has the physique, but he does not have I don't know.
we'll
Like,
get
honestly, he
Yeah,
kind
we'll
of
get
looks
into
like
it.
you in the face.
I thought he was a little too manicured, but we'll get into that. But I was gonna say the cover. How long do you think it would take you to do a job like this as a designer?
If they provided all the publicity photos for me, it probably would take me, and I like knew what I was going to be doing, maybe in less than an hour. Like it looks very, yeah.
That's kind of what I figured. We also have the trailer for the movie, so we can watch that before we actually talk about the movie.
Let's check it out.
And for some reason, I don't even have your camera. I have I have the president from Sonic Adventure 2 instead for some reason. So I'm gonna leave it like that because it's cool. I'll press play. Sega's first motion picture.
Oh wow.
100億が消えた。そして俺はお前と出会い、この事件に巻き込まれていった。
Doesn't he could play you in a movie?
Oh no, I can't. Not with this guy. No, he's too manicured. I need somebody rugged, more like let's see, one of these robbers maybe. Maybe the Korean gun supplier.
Yeah, maybe.
Did they ever make the connect? Oh my God, Nishiki. Did he ever make the connection that he dated Yumi? No, right? Throughout the whole movie?
No.
Weird.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have questions. I'll have questions for you. Wow.
Look at the flame on the logo. Oh man,
It's
you're in for a good movie. It's so like low budget B movie. But yeah. What do you think about the trailer, and does it like convey what the movie's all about?
I mean, if I hadn't seen the movie yet and I played the Yakuza games, I'd be pumped because I'd be like, well, the budget, it looks low budget, but the casting looks pretty cool, and it looks like it's very true to the games, almost to a fault, but I'd enjoy that. And I'm sure we will be drawing the comparisons to the Amazon series at one point, but for what they did, at least in the trailer, I thought it looked pretty cool, actually. I'd be on board. And I don't, we keep saying we'll get to it, but I'll just say it now. Like, watching the trailer, I'd be like, well, I really hope they give us that Yakuza, that classic Yakuza video game like story where it's really compelling and gripping. And that's the one place where the movie actually falls short. So it's like, it looks like Yakuza. It's got some of the like video game elements, which is really fun, but it's lacking the one main thing that makes Yakuza great. It's the story. And the Shenmue anime, by comparison, even though like it lacks like the visual punch and realism because it's kind of cheaply animated, to be honest. At least it has the story, and it actually makes the story even more compelling from just a sit back and watch the narrative sense. So it's like, it's just interesting. I don't know.
I don't think the characters have. I mean, I know it's after the first game, which lacked a lot of the story and nuances that we got later on, but they still had some emotional scenes in it, and they did a good job with them. And I guess we'll get into it while we go into the movie, but they cut out almost all of it.
The movie.
So let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about the opening. The start of the movie actually has a blurry Kazuma Kiryu running around Kamurocho looking for someone. We don't know who. And at the same time, these digital numbers on the screen keep counting down. The camera continues to purposely use this blur effect to capture Kazuma, just to like tease us, like what does he look like, guys? Oh my God, who knows? Kind of like when they do like Sonic, just like passing by as a blur.
Right.
Obviously, they want to so the introduction to me is like they're introducing us to Kamurocho, the city, which is part of the franchise and is a character in itself. and still leave Kazuma as a mysterious to draw in viewers. What are your thoughts about teasing these like main characters? Like they're like it kind of puts expectations up, right?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. We saw in the trailer they show what he looks like, so it's not a big secret. And it's strange too because in the trailer and in the Japanese uh, poster art, he looks great, but the American DVD cover, it does not look like him at all. It looks like a strange, wrinkled old man.
Oh, is that the
It's-
one where he has like a gun?
It looks so odd. He looks like a zombie. I don't know what they did to him in that picture, but it does not look like the same actor, and he looks, I don't know, like tired and old. It's very odd.
I'll have to pull it up in a little bit, but what do you think about the Komorocho scenes in the beginning? Because I thought they did a pretty good job capturing kind of like the city. You were just there not that long ago,
Yeah.
so what do you think about the shots they did in the beginning of the movie?
I think they nailed it. I mean, I think the one thing I can really praise is the location shooting. I thought it. I mean, having been there myself now and having played the games, it looks awesome. It's clear though throughout the film that they were kind of trying to film around actual people because there are some scenes where like crowds are oddly blurred, like when he's walking through the streets. Which I think was probably because they didn't get releases from some people. But yeah, I mean, I went there in the afternoon, and then I stayed until dusk. I wasn't there when it got dark out.
Well, you didn't want to get into fights.
Well, no, exactly. Well, yeah, and I told you I saw a tall guy walking around, and I thought it was Mr. Shakedown. But yeah, I mean, I praise them for filming a lot of it on location, though it's very clear when they start to get into the sets because it's like a little too clean looking or a little too fake. I don't know. And you see that same street a lot where the baseball bat fight went down. That was not real. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's look at the first characters we were actually introduced to. The movie finally shows the money on the digital screen go to zero. This leads us to meeting these weird bank robbers that are trying to steal 10 billion yen that doesn't exist from a bank, calling themselves, I don't even know how to say this, Iminichi and Nakanichi. And they're kind of like a comedic duo. One's wearing a red hat and a green hat. And I think the detectives even make like some sort of like, are they a comedic duo, kind of like David and Costello, I guess. What is your opinion on this sort of like take? Like, obviously they're trying to do side missions as part of like, you know, the people that live in Kamurocho. What do you think about this side plot?
I mean, I get what they're trying to do, but the problem is that Kazuma doesn't play a part in it. And I feel like if the movie was more him, these people's stories going on, than him like bumping into them and interacting with them, maybe even like setting them on the right path or helping them, that would have been a little more powerful than. And I get what they're doing, but it just it's kind of bloated. And I'll be honest, I was watching the movie, and when I got to these guys' parts, I would start doing the skip ahead because I was like, I want to get to I want to finish this.
I think the problem with them, it's like a 2-hour movie too. The problem with them is that like their comedic scenes aren't that funny, and they don't have enough jokes to keep you going. The joke is that it's really hot, and they want to steal this money, and it continues on as the movie progresses. But they're not really charismatic, and they can't really drive these scenes to, I guess, the next level. Like, if they were constantly funny, we would want to see more of them.
Exactly. Yeah, it's failed comic relief in a movie that where every character is like kind of funny. They're trying to be.
And guess who's handling the robber's case? A little detective, Date. And here we go. I put the him on screen. What do you think about his actor? compared to the video game one. Here this is a good look.
I mean, I think compared to the PS2 model, it's not terrible, but
Right.
once they kind of redid him, yeah. No.
So this is the first look at a movie character that we obviously have from the video games. So the actor that's playing him is Yutaka Matsushi, who is known for films, notably Last Life in the Universe and the Yakuza film Outrage Beyond. The opening scene also establishes that, well, it's hot and people go crazy when it's hot, which is something that has nothing to do with the games. But
Right.
yeah, as a person that has only lived in places that is really, really hot, yeah, that's true. They go crazy when it's hot, and I can't even contain myself when I go outside and get the mail. I have to like kick a bush or something because I'm so crazy. So you think he's a pretty good represent? I mean, obviously no actor is going to be perfect. If we see them right next to each other, we're like, I mean, come on, this guy's way too skinny. The jaw is not even the same, but
Right.
yeah. So I don't know if you could ever find a guy that looks this manly, but I think he was an okay actor and he did an all right job. It's just I don't think he got enough scenes with Kazuma and like
Yeah.
have that rapport where they're like friends in a way. They didn't do that. So all right, let's look at the next scene. Oh, we finally get to see the man of the hour, Mr. Kiryu, who is looking for someone in the convenience store near lots of Yakuza-sponsored Suntory beer. Kazuma Kiryu in the movie is played by Kazuki Kitamura, whose notable works include the film Lies and 14. Oh, so this movie is called Mother at 14 and Tenshingen, which I've never seen any of these films. I'm sure they're great. What is your opinion on how Kazuma is portrayed? How Kazuma portrayed the Dragon of Dojima, at least in the looks department in this film?
You know, I think I was initially a little a little mean to him. I think when you take into account the fact that this was before the redesign of the model, looking at them here, I think it would be very hard to find someone that looks like the PS2 Kazuma.
Yeah.
And I think more it's a failure in the costuming and makeup, because he's got the brow down. The
Right.
hair's all right, but I think he needed longer sideburns. He needed the stubble on the chin, or the little, I don't know what you call
The
that, little soul
love
patch or
patch.
something. And he needed to pop that collar. And I think if you did those things, you would be in Kazuma business.
Also, Kazuma is not like super huge of an actor, so I'm not really like mad about the size or anything. I thought you were gonna say that the age, maybe he looked too young to be Kazuma, but actually he was only 1 year, 1 month younger than the video game version of the character.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm not bothered by age. Like with the Amazon series, I wasn't bothered there either. I'm like, they're young, but like if this actually does get a season 2, then you want them younger. You don't want to bring on a guy that's like in his 40s playing Yakuza 1 plot, you know.
I would say the other thing that about him here, I just think he's like really like manicured, like really, I don't know. I just don't see I don't know, Kazuma plucking his eyebrows or something like that. He has a little bit of stubble on his chin. This guy doesn't have any. He's too clean shaven. Like
Right.
the whole character's too clean for me to be Kazuma. But I don't think the actor did a worse job. I think he's probably the closest that has portrayed him in real life. I haven't seen the play. I can't say anything about that. But
Oh, yeah.
I still think the Amazon show, obviously, with its own thing. So I think this is the closest we've gotten technically to someone but there's a lot of room for improvement in my opinion. But
Right.
and then next we also get to see our first fight scene with Kazuma and some thugs, showing the type of more, at least at this point, grounded fighting. There is some like special effects. I thought the fighting was actually fine. It's no Jackie Chan or anything, but I've seen a lot of new shows and new movies, and man, so many cuts. This has quite a bit of cuts, but compared to like new shows I've been watching, it's like it almost feels like, I don't know, like we're watching Lord of the Rings sometimes, because like I'll watch some of these new shows and they're like cutting every like 3 times a second. It's like, how can you possibly cut more in the scene? I don't know, but what do you think?
Right. So you thought the movie, the shots went on too long or cut too much?
No. I think that in this movie they did a good enough job letting the scenes breathe when they're fighting, even if the fighting isn't Jackie Chan level. I think when I watch new shows now on TV, they cut too frequently.
Right. Fast cuts cover bad choreography, and so that's why, like in a Jackie Chan movie, it's almost like a continuous scene, which is so nice.
Right.
And yeah, in here I'm glad they did that. I think it actually makes it a little more true to the games, because in the games, obviously it doesn't cut around a lot because you're playing the game, and in a single camera angle. So yeah, I thought it was nice. Little over the top, too much gunplay.
Right,
but,
the gunplay is ridiculous in this movie. That's like the most, I think, the thing they should have scaled back on. What do you think about this compared to like the Amazon show, the action at least?
I thought the action in this was a little better, minus too many guns.
Right.
I thought there were some fun moments in the Amazon show, though, so it's kind of a toss-up, because the Amazon show, obviously due to its length, had more fights and focused more on the hand-to-hand. But this one, I thought when it was hand-to-hand, it was good, but they went back to the gun well way too many times. And from what I gather, there would never be this many gun deaths in Japan.
No.
This
would set the record for the last 50 years, most likely.
Right.
Next, we have another couple of Komorocho, not the bank robbers. This time it's the convenience store employee named Satoru and his girlfriend Yui, who in this scene are getting rescued by Kiryu, but later go on and like for no reason, she's like a bad influence on him, and she's like, let's go rob people. And it's like, why? Because it's hot? Is that what happens when it's hot? We get to rob everyone?
That's what happens when it's hot. Yeah.
So I guess, probably not a good couple. What do you think about this plot inclusion and the actors being played here, I guess?
I thought they were the weakest part of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was so sick of her. I was waiting for her to like get shot, to be honest. Spoiler alert, because she was just like asking for it, and I don't advocate that sort of violence, but it's like, I mean, she was asking for it in that she was like, let's keep robbing stores. Why? Because
it's fun.
Was there a reason? Was it to like pay someone off? I couldn't really follow that part.
To me, it felt, I was getting the vibes that she's the bad influence girlfriend, which is, I mean, I guess some people would say a sexist stereotype. Like, this guy has no urgency. He seems like he's a little pushover and has no backbone and just did whatever she told him.
Right.
Yeah, it's a weak story because it has no payoff and it has no, like the other story that wasn't funny. This one, like, it just becomes repetitive to a point where you're like, all right, let's move on here. Like, in Yakuza, there would be a middle, start, middle, and end. They don't really have a resolution in the end to what they did. They didn't get arrested. There's no, like, I guess we'll get to it later, but it just kind of fizzles out, and not good for a story. Like in Yakuza, the side missions would have, like, I think it's interesting to follow a convenience store clerk, but it would be in, like, Yakuza, it would be that, like, his grandma is addicted to gambling, pachinko, and so she needs this
Right.
item that's really good luck and she lost it, so Kazuma Kiryu will find it randomly and give it to him. That's like that's what a side mission for this guy would be in the game. Here,
Right.
he just goes
Right.
on robbery sprees, I guess. So,
And that's why I think they needed to like encounter Kazuma so that he would like put them on the right path.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But
And it just never happened.
no, Kazuma just goes, all right,
Did he
cool.
ever? He never encounters them.
Again, no, he doesn't after this.
No.
Next,
Jeez.
we finally get to see Goro Majima in the battling cage beating up one of his goons. Here in the movie, Majima is played by an actor called Goro Kishitani, so kind of close to Goro Majima, same first name.
Yeah.
Who is best known for movies like Returner, which I have seen a long time ago and I don't remember it. All Under the Moon and Graveyard of Honor. What is your opinion on Kishitani's take on Goro Majima, which seems to be much more silly, kind of Looney Tune-ish than the first game? Yeah.
So I have a few questions. So one, is his eye patch on the wrong side?
Yeah, I actually looked that up, and apparently the actor had bad vision from one eye, so they just told him to switch it, even though they knew it was inaccurate.
And now my other question: how accurate is he to the Yakuza 1 PS2 Goro? Is he that violent and that like?
Oh, sadistic,
really?
I guess. A little
Yeah.
bit, yeah. Like in the other one, they kind of try to make him like a wild card where like anyone could. There's this. We'll get to when the scene comes more, but he crashes into a building and does all this weird stuff that you'd be like, "What? Well, why?" So in the first game, he was supposed to be like that, but in this one, they kind of made the violence a little more like Looney Tune-y. Like, you know, when he hits people in the head, the ball spins, but they're still alive.
I think he was my favorite character in the movie itself.
Right.
I thought anytime he came on screen, the movie became instantly better.
Yeah.
But I will say he is basically the Joker, and I don't mean like
that's kind of
like
what
Heath Ledger. Sorry. He's like the Joker in the Joker movie.
The you mean like the Joker, like the one with what's it called? Joaquin Phoenix?
He's kind of like he's no he's he's kind of like is that Phoenix? Joaquin? No, that's is that who that plays the Joker? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's kind of like both a Batman villain from like 1989 Joker.
Oh, Nicholas.
But then he's also
played that one.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Jack Nicholson one because it's just like he'll like kill his thugs and like be kind of like over the top. But then other times he's very much like the Joker in The Dark Knight, where it's like Heath Ledger's, where he's just like not just a wild card. He's like he's scary to be around. And for me, that's never been Goro Majima. But maybe, like I said, I'm not like super. Like maybe I just haven't played enough Yakuza games, and like I'm playing Pirate Yakuza right now, even though I have not completed the other Yakuza games.
I think you're fine.
What's that?
I said I think you're fine playing it without playing the other ones. Like the connections are there, but like it's very minute that you could enjoy it on its own, in my opinion.
But he seems like such a nice, lovable guy in Pirate Yakuza, and in this one, it's like outside of maybe not killing children, women and children, maybe like he's a scary guy.
Yeah, I would say this is more of a depiction of the first game. I think they kind of like Sega kind of went back on him and made him more like it was all an act. It's he's just acting this way in a way, and so they try to kind of soften him up because when they like asked their female fan base in Japan, he was like one of the top 3. They consider him hot, And so they try to obviously soften him up for the female image and the fan base that is women, which is weird, saying that Yakuza 60-year-old men have a female fan base.
Right.
But yeah, I think he did a decent job. I think he wasn't as energetic, and he was kind of like, sometimes he would be like, Kazuma, or he'd be like, Kiryu, like whispering almost in a weird, like creepy way. But like, sometimes he in the game, it was obviously like, Kiryu-chan, really higher, right?
That's right, exactly. And that's why he was like the Joaquin Phoenix one when he got really tired, like slow and quiet. Because, like when he's like, you wouldn't get it. And he's like smoking the cigarette. But then in other scenes, he's like, I'm going to kill my henchmen and like be wacky. And so it's like, he just was like all over the place. He was like every Joker, every movie Joker at once. And it was just wild. And did they ever really show his connection to Kazuma or no?
They just said they were brothers, so like, but they didn't really talk about, which is funny because you would think a Yakuza game would do this, but they didn't talk about Tojo clan that much, or the structure of this Tojo clan, or who the leader of the Tojo clan was, or even really like Nishiki too much outside of a few sentences here and there. It was all mostly like, there's the bank robber guys. It's like, why are these guys getting attention? But yeah. We also got to see, so next we have Kazuma finally finding out what he is searching for, Haruka, and she just found a dog. This is a recreation of the scene from the actual game that introduces us to Pochitaro. That's her dog in Yakuza 1 and 2. I actually don't know what happened to him. I'm assuming I think in the end of 2, they're like, oh, he should go to the Sunflower Orphanage. And I feel like Kazuma just dropped him off somewhere, sadly. Don't quote me on that one.
Right.
I like it when they actually do scenes like this. Obviously, in the other scene, there are thugs that try to like bully her because she's feeding a dog. And they're like, oh, what a lame ass. We need to beat her up. And then they get beat up by Kazuma.
Right. So did they meet? This is them meeting in the movie, or was she with him and he like
you go to a side mission,
went off and then came?
Yeah, no, you're in the game. I think you go meet someone and you tell her to wait for you outside, and then when you come outside,
that's it.
Yeah, this is what happens.
Okay, so he that's what he was doing. He was off getting the dog food, and then he comes back to her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. I got it now.
And the thing is, this is kind of throws the whole story in the middle of everything because you never got the opening scenes of why he was in prison or any context into this part. So I think
this movie,
right? Go on.
Yeah, this movie lacks a first act. It throws you into the second act of a 3-act movie, but the second act just goes on for the entire like hour and a half, and then the last act comes, and you're like, but I don't know, unless you played the games, you don't know the connections between characters, but because some characters' relationships are so different, it doesn't actually line up with the game, so you're like, did something change? So that's one thing big point I'll go give to the Amazon series, is that they really show you a lot of the background. Even though it's not game accurate, it is true to the story within the movie. You know what I mean? So it's
they keep it for context too. Like, obviously, you could watch it from the start, middle, and end, the Amazon show, and you'll understand the story. This one, you could watch the beginning, and if you never played the game and you're just like, I want to watch this cool movie, it looks cool, you'd be like, I have no idea who this guy is or what's happening.
Well, I don't want to throw the show off, but I did send you in our chat a Photoshop I just did. Just adding long sideburns and little chin thing and giving him the popped collar.
Let me see if
if you want to.
So here's the edit you did. Way better. It looks way better, obviously, with the goatee and the what is that? Like a little soul patch, I guess you would say, on the bottom.
Yeah, it's just like a little scruff on the chin. But I didn't alter his face at all. I just drew that on and made his sideburn longer and with the popped collar from the
Oh my, it's like
image to the left.
And they had marker too for the soul patch because Majima had the stencil on mustache. Just use whatever he used.
Right.
Yeah.
So they were so close. So close.
I wonder if it was a personal reason they did it, but
I don't know why. It looks great. It actually makes his chin look a little more manly. You know what I mean? Not that he didn't have one before.
well, I think the actress was she was, I mean, kid actresses, like what are you gonna do, right? I think she did
Yeah, she was okay.
Yeah, she, for the line she had, she did good. She did a good job. I wouldn't. Obviously, she's a kid. I think her depiction is perfectly perfect. I mean, she's obviously a little bit older, which is fine because you don't want to have an actual 80-year-old or whatever she is in this movie act.
Right.
What do you think about the dog actor? You think it's pretty accurate, the dog?
Dog's fine. Dog's hardly in the movie. He kind of just gets rid of it, but it is true to the game. So yeah, no, I think the casting here was solid. It's just a shame that like her and the Kazuma actor, it didn't really feel a lot of like, I don't know. I didn't feel a lot of heart from both of them. It just was kind of like he just needs to get her to where she needs to be, and he kept telling her to stand back.
Right.
You know?
That's basically their whole interaction. Next, we got a new character in the story that isn't from a Yakuza video game. This is Park Chul, a Korean assassin that has some sort of relationship with Kazuma's legendary adopted daddy, Kazama, and is just mentioned in this one-off scene. In his opening scene, his opening scene is him making like a mixed drink at this Hostess Club, which is owned by the guys from what is that thing called? Stardust, but I think here it's called Jewel. Park is being played by Gong Yu. If somebody likes this guy, they're gonna hate me, but he is best known in the West for his role in Squid Games and in Train to Busan, which is like a zombie film. So he is the most popular actor today out of everyone here. So what do you think of the inclusion of the super cool assassin character introduced here?
I didn't really think much of him, to be honest. Like, as I was watching the movie, I was like, is this a character from the game? Is this one? And I didn't look this one up, but just they didn't stand out to me. So I was like presuming they were a new creation. It also was interesting throughout the film that there's a lot of Korean influence, and I didn't really get that from the Yakuza games.
In the future,
unless I'm wrong.
In the future, there is some games that have Korean people, and they talk about like immigration and how they have to live underground sometimes because they're immigrants, like illegal there. And you know, they're kind of xenophobic. I don't know. They're very nationalist. Let's say they like having Japanese people and playing by the rules. So there is later, but I don't remember the first game having any of it. So it was weird that they kind of like saw this as a thing that's going to happen in the future in the franchises, or maybe they got the idea from the movie. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
I went back. Okay. Next, we get a Goro Majima and his goons outside of the. We get some cool city shots of them bullying their way into an underground meeting with that Japanese Korean gun smuggler that we all know about. Which is quite a unique character, this gun smuggler. He seems to enjoy pain a bit too much. He sort of took the place of the florist from the first game. So that means like all the homeless subplots were kind of cut out. And it's just this weird guy that likes to get beat up. And like it's almost like he's egging every character that comes in to beat his ass so he could get off on it. What is your opinion on this character?
The sadist, I guess he is.
Right.
Man, I don't know. I thought he was it was a weird addition, to
it
be
was
honest.
Right.
Yeah, I now that I know about the audition, connection to
You
the
can't have-
director's past work. I get it now, but it just I get it. It was trying to go for that like weird side character, like Mr. Walking Erection. What's his
Right.
name? I think that's his name,
Libido.
right?
Libido.
Mr. Libido, yeah. And I feel like if they directly pulled a character from Yakuza 1, it would have been a little funnier. But this one, I mean, I can't fault the director or the writers of this movie for, obviously they took inspiration from side plots and stuff, and they nail it. It for me, it's like, why not just directly lift from the games instead of get things that are like a flavor of something from the games?
And obviously the director has a thing for these pain characters. So as you've seen his previous films, we finally get a scene where Date and Kazuma meet and explain the viewer the plot of the 10 million missing and establish that Kazuma just got out of jail. Mind you, this is 30 minutes into the film already. This one scene is supposed to establish Kazuma's story, including telling the audience that Haruka has been looking for her mother, and Kazuma is basically asking about Kazama, which has not been heard of. He's just like missing, but somehow Kazuma's like, you know what? I'm gonna help this little girl, which I guess is very Kazuma like. But yeah, they don't talk about his prison or why he went to prison, so there's no like actual like background to why. Like the whole story is missing here, like a big chunk, like that he killed his own boss. That's like kind of important, especially when you first come out of prison. That you're a murderer. They don't say that at all. I don't think they even said he was a murderer. So, do you think it was good to speed the movie along, considering it's been bogged down? Or do you think they should have focused on Kazuma from the start instead of having all these like character introductions?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm really gonna go into like picking this movie apart and like armchair writing and directing, I think what they needed to do was cut the whole bank robber plot because it adds nothing to the movie. Include the couple, the crime couple, but cut their screen time in half and have their story resolved by encountering Kazuma. And yeah, it just and then use all that remaining screen time to give us a true first act where we see how he got into prison. And I think that's again why the Amazon TV show does better, because they hired young actors so that the flashback scenes actually work really well. And sure, the scenes in the present show them as being young people playing older people, even though they still look young. I appreciate that much more than imagining this movie having this guy as Kazuma 10 years earlier, and he's like wearing a backwards baseball cap, to like show that he's younger.
In Japan,
but yeah, it's
do they have
it's
like
missing so much.
Is there equivalent to a backwards hat in Japan?
The little pinwheel hat.
Oh, I've seen those before. I
yeah,
thought
like Speed Racer, that little kid.
But isn't that in America like the dumb hat? Like they put it on when you like you're a smart ass. They like put it on with the little pinwheel on the top, and they're like, "Go play with your toys." No,
right?
Yeah, okay,
no.
I did. Let's see. We just like the game, Kazuma goes to a host club to get more information where we get what I assume is supposed to be the Stardust, but in the movie it's called Jewel. The club is from the host Yuya, but in the movie it's just another character playing a support role for Kazuma, giving him his like cell phone since he just got out of the joint. I guess he looks like him. I don't know. He's not that important of a character, but I just thought it was weird that they kind of like took the time to include this plot point from the game into here, but like cut out so much important scenes. But at least we know he has a cell phone and he could do his side missions and like check all the other things he needs to his emails for tutorials. So that's good.
Right.
Then next, the story finally shows us Haruka's mom, Yumi, and even has a mention of the Sunflower Orphanage, which you can see in the background a little bit because there's sunflowers. This is also the first time we see the actress that plays Yumi, Saki Takaoka, who actually won a big award in Japan for Best Actress in the 1995 film Crest of Betrayal. I've never seen it. As you can tell, Haruka's dad's plot was basically removed from the movie, and he's not even in the picture, but he's being played by a very special person that we'll get to when we get to him. Next, we have this like so the next is like when all these scenes are finally coming together, right? We have the assassin working with the detectives. So he like somehow sneaks into the detectives. Someone inside the detectives helps him come get in. And I don't know why they had to do all this stuff, but so we get a scene of him roaming around looking for the Korean weapon dealer, who also happens to be someone the two robbers love couple in this is also looking for, and they somehow all know this Korean underground weapons dealer. Then we finally get Majima and Kiryu meeting, similar to their meetup in the video game boss fight scene in the batting cages, which gets Majima knocked out, causing him to go into an oh man, I erased all that stuff. Causing him to go into an ambulance, which and then he decides like he gets knocked out. They take him in an ambulance, then he wakes up in the ambulance and I'm gonna steal their ambulance, which makes sense when you see the bill that you get in the end. Yeah. At the same time, our assassin hero is setting up his sniper shot, and the love couple on a robbery spree. The story kind of fizzles out. I think they have like a fake breakup, but regardless, they kind of don't do anything else. They're just like miserable. Like I think somebody attacks them and she pulls out a gun and does nothing. So their story's done. Right. And they just kind of are miserable. So lame. And then we finally get this like shootout scene, which is very, very weird. But we get a big out of nowhere shootout scene with Kazuma versus Majima, where a very unlike Kiryu, he is blasting people left and right. It's actually kind of crazy. Basically, these images were everywhere when they marketed the movie. And we also get a cute scene of Haruka telling Majima that she would kill him if he hurts Uncle Kazuma, which I liked. What do you think about this scene? And I guess I don't know. I've never seen Kazuma look so weak in my life. That was my thing with this scene. Like he was like, when you play the game and you get beat up as him, you're like, that was my fault. I'm here. I'm controlling a legend, and I'm the one screwing up. Sorry, Kazuma, you got beat up. That's on me. Here, he's getting beat up, and I'm like, this is not what Kazuma does. He does not crawl. He does not beg. This is not it. But besides that, what do you think of, and the fight? Like, this is the most non-Yakuza part, in my opinion.
Yeah, so going way back to the fight in the baseball, or in the machine pitch baseball area. Right. That's the highlight of the movie for me. That's the one clip I would go back and rewatch again and again on YouTube. It's such a great scene in the whole movie. And to be honest, I think nothing in the Amazon show tops that, because it straight up feels like something ripped from the video game. It's focusing on two of the biggest fan favorite characters. Maybe not crucial to the plot, which is why I give a point to the Amazon series for like actually focusing on Kazuma and what is it, Nishiki?
Yeah.
And in this movie it doesn't do that. But it if it was just like a little short film of that, A+. But then they I don't think they ruin it, but they definitely don't top it and actually give you something that goes completely against the series and what the characters would do, and just the idea of them shooting each other and shooting at each other and with the intent to kill just seems so wrong to me. In the Yakuza games, I always feel like Kazuma is fighting, if he does fight Goro Majima, he's doing it to like stop him but not kill him.
Right.
In the video games, obviously it's a video game, but the intent is to knock them out, not murder them. And the fact that looking behind there, Kazuma killed all those men,
right,
just feels really wrong. And I'm kind of understanding now why Batman fans get really upset when Batman kills people.
Right, right.
Because to me, Kazuma has killed people, but I don't know how many he has killed in the games, but I feel like this movie tops it.
Right, one scene.
And the only good thing is like, no, but it's not a good thing because they are intending to shoot each other, but they're out of bullets and they're shooting each other point blank.
Right.
So it's a cool scene, but it's not a cool Yakuza scene at all.
I do agree with you that the baseball scene is the best.
And it kind of ruins the movie.
I was gonna say, like, when they're fighting in the baseball scene, the one you said that was good. I liked when he did the whole knife thing. That's literally a QTE from the game, where like Kazuma stops one hand, but he drops the knife and he grabs it with the other, and then he stabs him with it. That's like one of the QTEs for the fight. And I was like, cool, you added that.
Right.
You got me. And then I agree with you. What do you think about the weird baseball scene where like Kazuma just like continuously walks up to him and he hits him with baseballs?
Oh, in the hallway?
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I thought that kind of nails what like a weird moment in Yakuza would be like. It actually oddly reminded me of that scene in Zero where the guy was on the motorcycle. Narrow in the
hallway, in the sewers.
Hallway. Yeah. So there's just the idea of like being in a narrow space with a madman doing some wacky attack. Again, in the real life, baseball might kill you to the face, but in this movie, and in a Yakuza game, it's not. I think as soon as you pull a gun out, that's intent to kill, and that's serious. There's a reason why in the Yakuza games, especially Pirate Yakuza, like it's a big deal when a gun comes out. Like, that could give you a game over.
I guess in the Yakuza, they have like the Bunderbluster but it's like used in a comedic, obviously, not lethal way. It's obviously fantasy, but I thought it was weird when Kazuma only survives the onslaught of Goro Majima thanks to the interruption from his dad Kazama, which this is the first time we actually saw him in the movie, and it's already the end. So apparently he was being held by Nishiki's clan, and it's why he happened to not be in the film. Kazuma, for some reason, didn't even bother to search for him because he was looking for, obviously, Haruka's mom. What do you think about the actor here that plays Kazama? I thought he was pretty spot on.
I thought the actor here was, from what little I know about the character, I thought spot on. Like this is someone, as soon as I saw him appear, I was like, man, I didn't get to this point in the game. But seeing him here and looking him up, I was like, yeah, this is starting. This whole scene kind of felt like something out of the first game, but obviously it just felt like it came out of nowhere. It's almost like, oh, we got to start adapting this game again,
Right. I thought he did fine. I mean, he obviously, even in the game, didn't have too much of a storyline. So, like, I thought maybe when I first saw the promotions for this, I was like, oh, maybe they could give him a more fleshed out story. But no, I think he even got less story here than he did in the actual original. So that was kind of surprising to me. The next scene, we got a cameo from someone. Do you know who this guy is?
Oh my God, this made me laugh so hard. It's the equivalent of them making the first Sonic movie and Yuji Naka just gets like his
Killed?
head cut off. It's
Yeah.
the goofiest moment ever, but it's something I've been long wanting from the Sonic movies, is to have Azuka show up. And they haven't done it. And yet here they are in the very first live action Yakuza. And why? Why did he get shot in the head?
Okay, I'll let you I'll let you in on it. So now the movie decides it's time to move on to the climax of the story and introduce a helicopter, much like the first game also had one. But in this movie, the helicopter seems to cause some sort of earthquake around Kamurocho. Not very
Yeah.
stealthy. Inside the plane, we see a familiar face, the Yakuza co-creator, I can't even say his name.
Toshihiro Nagoshi. Toshihiro Nagoshi.
Who in the film is credited as Mr. N, which is supposed to be Jinju, the corrupt politician, and Haruka's sperm daddy in the game.
Oh, wow.
So here he doesn't get any sort of story outside of getting shot in the head. What do you think of this weird inclusion and like this really bad CGI helicopter footage?
Weird. It's weird, but it's also a memorable moment, oddly enough. I think well, at the end, I think I want to give you my like top 5 moments, but
Okay.
this is up there for sure. I actually loved it.
Okay,
As stupid as it was.
It was so like out of nowhere. Also, the Korean assassin killed him, but like never explained why he did it or anything. But all right.
Right.
Next, so Haruka
boy.
gets herself kidnapped by Nishiki, which is kind of weird. She like just ran off and like right away gets kidnapped. Like Nishiki was waiting outside of the fight, that little building they were fighting in, and just like kidnapped
Right.
her. Who in the movie got the most? Nishiki got most of his story glossed over. Quite the same as the game. We also see the actor that plays Nishiki is called Claude Maki, who is actually a surfer, fighting champion, actor, and hip hop singer. Bet you did not know that
Wow.
one by seeing
No.
him. Here
Nope.
we get a climax fighting scene with a shirtless Nishiki and a wounded Kazuma. What's your opinion on Nishiki's portrayal here and him coming out as in the end as the actual villain, even though the movie kind of pushed Goro Majima way more?
Right. So a few things. So first off, this screamed Wolverine Origins to me, where they just completely botched Deadpool and he just shows up kind of out of nowhere at the end. Like he was there as Wade Wilson, but as soon as they do the reveal of him, it does not look anything what you'd expect Deadpool to look like. And in this one, you're watching the movie and you're like, I guess that guy from the video game isn't in this one and Goro Majima's the bad guy. I'll deal with that. And all of a sudden he shows up out of nowhere. Who is this guy? If you didn't play the games, or if you're like, I guess I'd consider myself a like casual fan who like owns all the games and is trying his hardest,
Yeah.
Like him showing up here, I was like, oh, it's the guy from the games. But wait, did I miss something? He wasn't in this movie until now. It's so... I think this is one of the worst moments in the movie, to be honest,
Yeah.
when he shows up.
Yeah.
So bad.
And not only that, like, I thought his hair was bad, but I guess it's pretty accurate too. And Nishiki's bad hair is on this too.
No, he kind of looks the part, but he doesn't. And he comes in out of nowhere, and it's like, why didn't you introduce him in the first act and then have him come back in the third act? It's just so bad.
The only good thing about this whole thing was that during the fight that Kazuma loses and was like really badly shot, he just like all of a sudden
Right.
starts using the stamina maximum stamina power up. It's like, imagine if like in Sonic they just use an item box, but it's like the real life characters start using it. That's this so sick.
Right.
It was cheesy, but I loved it that he just like chugged it like in the game. Though, watching Kazuma
All
be
right.
weak, I didn't like that.
I didn't. Yeah, I get that. I didn't like him being weak, but you also had to show him at his like lowest so that this moment would pay off. And I I get it. I feel like he needed to take a harsher beating considering he was like he went through a gunfight and was pretty much unscathed, but in a fist fight he's like not doing so hot. But yeah, I like this moment a lot actually.
I would say that Nishiki's kind of dumb though, because why didn't he get one? Like, go to the convenience, go to the weapons dealer and buy one too. Like, you could have had one, but
Did
you
he
didn't.
have? So Kazuma had this one the whole time though in his inventory.
I think there's a there was a moment where they show him buying it actually in the film. Like,
Right, he
before.
gets like the best one.
Yeah, he's like, give me the best one. Obviously, he just came out of prison and he's
Exactly.
like, give me the best one. Of course, why would I want the trash? But yeah, I thought it was a cool scene, even though it was super cheesy. I will. So I will say quickly after the fight, Yumi sort of just kind of shows up, and then starts standing next to the big pile of 10 billion yen that for some reason they just kept in a like perfectly square pile, and then just blows herself up and the money and the unconscious body of Nishiki into dust, but also endangers her daughter and maybe, I don't know, in the movie, her ex-fiance. Is Yumi a bad mom? Like, will this woman do everything but take care of her child?
Yeah, she comes in out of nowhere, and I'll be honest, the character itself was not visually memorable, so I was actually trying to remember who this was. Like, they showed pictures of some women, but I couldn't place... Again, just like Nishiki coming in out of nowhere, like, you need to have a first act to establish... Like, you need to show her with Haruka, right? And you need to show Nishiki with Kazuma. And then you have them go apart. You don't see Nishiki or Yumi. And then Kazuma and Haruka come together, find themselves, and then at the end they confront these two people from their past, and that's the payoff. And Goro Majima is just like the wild card throughout the film that's causing trouble. And I like that because that's kind of true to the game, and I've even heard people say that the one thing this movie really did influence later games was making Majima like Majima everywhere, where he just pops up and causes trouble, and I love that. But I hate the end of this movie.
And
it's stupid.
It's much. I think it's like the game, but the problem is that the game had the first act where you knew who they were and what they did and why they were tied to Kazuma. And this one, you get none of that, and they just show up. So that's the problem.
Weirdly, this movie would do better by not being true to the game.
Right.
You know?
Because they didn't really
establish... If you're going to go in, go all in.
Yeah, they didn't establish any of the characters, so... Because both these characters, their whole stories in the first act of the Yakuza games, they're the intro. They skip the intro, so they get no story.
So the Stamina X thing, that's fan service done right.
Right.
Nishiki and Yumi showing up at the end just to recreate the end of the game, even though you never built up to it, is fan service done wrong, because you're giving the fans a live adaptation of the end of the first game with none of the setup. It's so weird.
And in the end, we have the sort of kind of like the ending from the first game. So we have the whole thing blow up. The money go all over Komorocho. Then we have the bank robbers finally come out and reveal themselves. The only reason I bring this up is because the actor on the left of the screen comes back and plays a character in Yakuza 4. So the actor in the green mask that happens to be Kinchi Indo, who came back in Yakuza 4 and plays the homicide detective Junji Sekiguchi. And that's pretty cool that they brought him back. The character's modeled after him, obviously, as you could tell here.
Yeah.
So I think there's another person that was in the film that also got a character, but he was like a one-off side character that was in one scene. The last scene, actually, I thought I had a picture of it, but I guess not. It was Kazuma and it was basically the ending, Kazuma and the building being blown up, but it's basically kind of the same ending as the game. I will say the only thing they changed was that Kazama, his dad, does not die in the film. In the other one, he dies and reveals to him that, like, I guess it's not really plot spoiling, but that the reason him and Nishiki were orphans was because he killed their parents, and that he puts all the kids he kills into the Sunflower Flower Orphanage when he makes them bastards. So they didn't reveal that story plot, which I think is kind of a big deal. And I thought maybe the assassin that was Korean should have killed his dad, and he should have been the assassin that killed his dad, and the whole revelation happens. Didn't really do that. So and in the end, I think in the original they play Star Spangled Banner or whatever in the credits, and this one they play like a rendition of like My Little Stars, or what was that song called, the lullaby, the Twinkle Little Star.
Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
Yeah, they play a rendition of it in the background of the credits. But yeah, that's the whole movie of Yakuza, the movie. What are your closing thoughts about this epic adaptation of one of Sega's, I guess, now classic franchises?
Yeah, so it's really interesting that they gave us a live action adaptation in a movie format for Yakuza after the first game released.
Yeah.
It's such a strange and kind of ballsy move. You'd think you'd want to build up the franchise a bit to make something be a little more, I don't know, like flesh out the games more before you put some money into a movie. Having said that, I love that this exists just because it's such a strange time capsule from the era. I mean, you think about the Sonic franchise. I always draw the comparisons to Sonic because, it's my favorite Sega franchise, and it's also the one Sega franchise that has done everything. And it's interesting to look at other Sega franchises that did similar things to Sonic and how they did it. So you look at Sonic, and Sonic 1 comes out, Sonic 2 comes out, and they basically are developing a cartoon alongside when Sonic 2 comes out. And it's very interesting to look back at this like external developed story based on what they know at the time. And so there's a lot of fun little bits that are like obviously not fleshed out because Knuckles didn't exist, and Master Emerald and like Eggman wasn't even a thing. And so you look back at this, it's a really fun time capsule of a movie because it shows before Majima was really figured out, and it shows before Kazuma was redesigned. It shows before the second game even came out. So there's just a lot of fun in that as a time capsule. But it does really drop the ball in a lot of areas. I think the gunplay is really, and I'm not even like, I am anti-gun, but I'm not like, oh, keep them out of my movies. But in the context of Yakuza, you should not have a bunch of gunplay, especially the main characters shooting people. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's weird watching him use a shotgun to blast someone like 150 feet away, too.
Right. The side stories were stupid and kind of forgettable and attempting to be funny. There were funny moments, but when I realized it was happening again and again, like I love the guy bringing the drinks to the cops, and then he's like, he brings them alcohol and like, we can't drink, we're on duty. And then they're like, oh, just drink, it's too cold, and like or too hot, and the air conditioner breaks. Like I thought all that was really funny. But just too much time wasted on that with no first act was a real disappointment. But I will say, so I would say my top three moments: number one, the baseball cage fight; number two, Nagoshi getting shot in a helicopter. It's just ridiculous, over the top, and I loved it. And then number three was the Stamina X, because for me, that's the equivalent of like the Supersonic and the Sonic 2 movie. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh my God, they're actually giving us the power up, because we've all been there. We like save our inventory and you're like, oh man, this last boss is so hard. I'm just going to use the best health item I have. And that's what he does. And it's great. And I love the flames. Like, it's over the top, but it works in the context of the movie, where baseballs can hit people in the head but keep spinning,
right,
and leave indents in their heads. I think, you know, it's
that's
just
like
stupid, but
Looney Tunes. I'm telling you, some of the violence
and without, but I would say Goro Majima, the character and the actor who brought him to the screen, makes or breaks this movie. If he was not in it, this movie would be forgettable. He makes this movie, and the fact that he's in one of the three favorite moments. I would say number 4 is the hallway scene with the baseball, and number 5, I don't know. You pick number 5. I can't think of
number
anything
5, probably the guy that likes pain. I'll give you that guy, the Korean arms dealer.
That felt very, like, going back to the Joker thing, that felt very like Heath Ledger Joker.
Right.
Where he'd be like, oh, this guy likes pain. You know, it reminded me of when Batman punches him in the head, and he was like, don't hit the head, because then the next time you hit him, they're not going to feel it. You know what I mean?
I think I understand what they're going for, but I think to adapt the whole thing, they probably would have to do a TV show, and I feel like the studio and Sega were dead set on having a actual movie, because it's a prestige format, especially still in the 2000s. I think now in America, we've normalized high quality television shows, and I think a lot of actors would love to be on TV shows. I guess if they paid more, most likely, but I think
right.
Some actors have become legendary based on TV shows like Breaking Bad. A lot of the actors that were on there were really known as high quality actors. So I think now it's changed. I kind of wish they did a Japanese style Yakuza TV show now in like today's time.
Right.
Amazon was fine, but it was always going to be an American adaptation. And this is a game that's all Japanese that should, in my opinion, be 100% Japanese in everything it does.
Right.
Yeah, so
right. It's like if you took the best of this and the best of the Amazon show, I think you would have a very good Yakuza series. But I think to make the perfect live action Yakuza Like a Dragon would be to have each season be a game. Commit to at least the first 3 games, let's say, and spread out the backstory from 0 through each season. So each season you could give us one flashback episode filling us in on what happened in the past. Sort of like how Righteous Gemstones, I don't know if you've watched that, but they do that every season.
That's a great show.
Yeah, and so I think if you kept the gritty crime story sort of realism, but throw in a little goofy over the top moments, it could work. And I brought up Righteous Gemstones, but that's actually a show that's very silly, but it also gets very gritty and dark. Same with Fargo.
Yeah.
So I think if they looked to some shows like that, they could probably nail the Yakuza vibe. And look to Yakuza itself, the video games. Like, this is a series that can both pull at your heartstrings and get you excited for a fight, but also make you laugh. And I don't know. Here's my pitch. So bring back the actor who played Goro Majima and just straight up adapt Pirate Yakuza with him.
That would be great.
I think that would be hilarious.
A nice child adventure.
Yeah, with no memory.
I will say that the Yakuza media franchise hasn't had the same impact, in my opinion, that like the Sonic multimedia franchise. Like the Amazon show and this movie are not going to be known anywhere near as the same popularity as the games. With Sonic, there's some people that really like the old 90s cartoons, and there's a fan base that just does that. Archie Comics had a whole fan base of just Archie. The Sonic movies, there's a generation of kids who will know Sonic because of the movies. I don't feel like Yakuza has had that yet, and I think there's still like a door open for them to have a series, maybe like an anime or something that adapts really well to be known. Kind of like Castlevania had the anime that kind of like put them on the map again as a franchise. So I don't know, but well, I guess that's the end of the podcast. So is there any memories you want to read from our beautiful Patreon supporters?
Well, Nicholas Schaefer says, wait, there was a Like a Dragon movie.
Yes.
and I say, looking it up, Goro Kishitani is 60 years old right now, which is the exact age Goro Majima is in Pirate Yakuza. So let's get him in a Pirate Yakuza movie. I would love that. That would be so great. Filmed on location in Hawaii with just him.
And I've seen him.
And new actors.
I've seen the picture of the actor, and he looks pretty young for 60, so I think he could pull off.
He looks great. That would be a banger movie. Wouldn't you agree? And it's set in the same universe as this movie. Oh, it'd be awesome. It would be the weirdest sequel. I'd love it.
Perfect.
Make it happen, Sega.
So what are we going to be talking about next time?
Well, George, we are leaving Japan after 2 episodes of Japanese fun, and we are going to go into the toy box in Andy's room and play Toy Story for the Sega Genesis. We're going to go back to the Sega Genesis era and talk about, I believe it's Virgin Interactive's Toy Story. I think it was Virgin.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why we need to do an episode, so we can learn more about it.
And I play this game a lot.
So that's what we have going on.
So I know this game a lot. This is a good game. I like the graphics and stuff, so I'm happy to talk about it next time.
It's Traveler's Tales. I'm sorry, everyone. It's not Virgin, but that's why I gotta research. So excited for that.
We'll catch you guys next time on Sega Talk. Bye.
Bye.